Hello, Henry from Belgium here. Today, a video about Lego set 352, Windmill and Lorry from 1972. It's been a while since I showed you a very old set. Well, this is actually the oldest set I currently own. The box still looks exceptionally good after more than 50 years. And loyal viewers already know that I find the box at least as important as the set. It has a historical value and tells a lot about a certain period. In this case, the way the big word Legoland is depicted, the rectangle with the different colors in it, and you can also tell from the type of images on it that it's a box from the 70s or earlier. The inner box of this set has extra drawings on the side and also extra cardboard. The set has the theme, Legoland, and the sub-theme, building, and contains 142 pieces. The parts are basic, but this pine tree is certainly a nice part of this set, and also one of the main reasons I wanted it in my collection. If you look closely, it contains a lot of small green particles, glued disorderly onto a brown trunk. I suspect that some particles have come loose and have been lost over the years. It looks like I see a bald spot at the top. The pine tree comes in 7 sets that were produced between 1969 and 1972. This set is the last in which this tree was produced, so nice that I have it in my collection now. I have seen this brick with a Legoland print before, but not yet with a white print on a black brick. One way I can immediately tell if it is an old set, and whether the parts are historically correct, is the use of the round 1x1 bricks. In the early years, they all had a closed stud, just like the heads of the first minifigures. It is only after a certain time that the designers realized that these are actually not so safe for children. If children swallow these types of bricks, they would no longer be able to breathe, but with an open stud, they would. It must have been somewhere in the early 80s that this was changed to parts with open stud, so everything with a closed stud is by definition from an earlier period. And then of course there are the characteristic wheels. The windows, the door, and also this brick with print, which are very recognizable parts for the 70s. And last but not least, the base plate. You would think that a green base plate of 16 by 32 with round corners is not special, but in the 70s, white dots were placed on the studs where you had to start building. The disadvantage is that if you want to build something else, those dots are visible and can be disturbing. And that's why I suspect that designers started to leave it out in later sets. But on the other hand, it does make the set unique because it was made specifically for the set. And it also increases the collection value. It is therefore very important when you see online ads of such old sets that you first ask the seller whether it concerns the correct base plate with the white dots. There are sellers who show a set while it is being built, and then you can't see these dots. My experience tells me that some people try to sell these sets with a regular base plate and bricks that they had left over from somewhere. And then they sell the whole as if it were an authentic old set. Apart from a few authentic pieces and a special base plate, the rest of the parts are basic, and you can still easily find these bricks today. That's also the main reason why I only collect sets complete with box and manual, because that way you have a real collector's item. Unfortunately, this manual is in less good condition than I am used to, but it looks worse than it is. Actually, the first page is torn from the rest, and the tape on it is colored brown. With some patience and precision, I can take that off, clean and repair it, and then attach it to the rest in a better way. The manual consists of 13 drawings drawn by hand. It is interesting to note here that the first drawing is in color and the next one's in black and white. In each drawing, the bricks that need to be added are in color, and then the last drawing of the whole is again completely in color. By the way, I think that I know why this extra cardboard is included. It strikes me that I can place the base plate on top of it, and that it then acts as a kind of lid that covers the bricks. When you then slide the cover over it, everything is nicely closed, and this way you can lose the bricks less quickly. And now it's time to build the set. Let's start. I do notice that there is a wide variation in the different sizes and shapes of the bricks, so that is certainly positive. And the designers were creative with the parts that were available at that time. For example, this is a part that I also saw in older train sets, and here it serves to attach the sails of the mill. The building experience is not very challenging, but each building is always put together differently in some way, which always makes it interesting for me. And it's also basic brick building, which is ultimately what I still enjoy most as an adult. The buildings from that period are always very colorful, and the basic colors are almost always incorporated. But it strikes me that there is not a single white brick in the set. Nice that there is also a car to build. It only consists of a few bricks, but it still gives this set great extra play value. You can transport goods and then load and unload them. It's always positive when you can perform a certain activity with a set, especially in those very early sets. It may be difficult to imagine today, but the 70s are a completely different period, and the world looked completely different then. It was also the time before minifigures were produced, so children had to be creative with what they were given. So if that was a lorry and a windmill, they could apparently play with it for hours and have fun with it. The condition of the bricks looks very good, and I suspect that they are all authentic. If you notice that poor and good bricks are mixed up in terms of their condition, then you can conclude that bricks were added or replaced later. The set certainly deserves a nice place in my collection. It is not my goal to own all sets from that period, but some beautiful sets such as this one should not be missing. It is a beautiful display piece, but you can also do an activity with it. It has a cool pine tree and a few other nice parts, and of course for its historical value, and certainly because of the beautiful condition of the box. Feel free to comment below this video. And don't forget to subscribe, it's free. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.